CS is a game of constant improvement, and when every game is played with somewhat of a purpose, a lot of pressure can be put on ourselves to win games, achieve goals, and ultimately be the best we can be. But sometimes Counter-Strike is a hard game. It can feel like no matter what you do, you're instantly countered, and what was originally an in-game struggle has now become a mental battle, not feeling good enough, like you're dragging the team down. I completely understand these feelings, and although it can stem from a multitude of reasons, I want to talk about what it can lead to, possible solutions, and how to prevent it from happening in the future. If you've ever been to real life before, burnout is typically caused from mental exhaustion, whether it be due to a repetitive routine, or if you feel stressed, depressed, anxious. You get my point. And if you draw a direct parallel, Counter-Strike can be a repetitive game, and you can feel stressed, depressed, anxious. You get my point. What I'm trying to say is that if you want to conquer your burnout without taking a break from the game, or prevent it from happening at all, then you should try playing the game in a new way. For me, this would be playing different positions on each map, trying things I might not usually do, and holding myself back from things I always do. Another thing I like to do is instead of playing to get the most amount of kills, I'll play to get the least deaths. Now, there is a fine line between right and wrong here, so you want to make sure you're not baiting your team or not attempting your trades. But there are definitely times where a trade is completely off the table, and if you do attempt it, which I usually would, you'll just feed the opponent another kill. But alongside the in-game playstyle, we also need to reevaluate our mindset. The tilt is the biggest killer. It might feel good in the short term to get your anger out, but in the long term, it'll burn you out, and you'll associate negative emotions with the game. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if my boys asked me to play and I got World War II flashbacks from us losing the night before, I'd probably go into the session with a lack of confidence, especially if it's been like that for weeks. No one's perfect. I often get frustrated that we don't win, and then everything I do is done with a rushed, we need to get this kill right now kind of mentality, and it just fucks me every time. But if instead of focusing on the negatives, we actually pointed our attention to the vibe and having a good time with the lads, then the game instantly becomes a lot easier to play. It feels more relaxed, everyone's communicating when they need to because the comms aren't flooded with angry gamers, and everyone's just more agreeable, so any plan we have is done together, with full commitment. You'd be surprised how much more engaging the game is when you play from a different standpoint. Your rank updates every game, so it can't really be a reliable representation of your exact skill level, but you know what you're capable of, and you have nothing to prove to anyone doubting you. So if you have a bad game, or if you're on a losing streak, don't worry about it. As long as you're keeping your cool and allowing yourself to enjoy the game, you'll be improving and you'll undoubtedly get back to your rank, and even higher. For example, when I was playing CSGO matchmaking, I realised that you get a lot of bad teammates, and it was really annoying because I felt like I was losing games that I should have won and that my rank didn't accurately display my skill level. So I re-established my mentality with the ranking system and thought, the rank that I'm at is the rank that I can carry every single game at. I don't know, it sounds kind of weird, but it did get rid of my rank ego and helped me with my mental resilience. Because if I D-ranked all the way to DMG, I knew that I could just smash everyone there and get back up to my original rank. Something else I like to do to keep the game fresh is trying to implement something new that I've learned. Sometimes it's just a cool util lineup that I use to get some kills, or it can be a nice off angle that I saw in a pro match. I think that incorporating that outside the game mind to remind yourself of things that you've learned is really healthy for your mind. And when you do pull something off that you've learned, you'll feel really accomplished. I'll give you a nice easy one to start off with. If you're on Mirage CT side and the enemy smoke top mid every round, try throwing a HE into it. Trust me, no one ever expects it. I also want to mention the ultimate cliche to keeping the game fresh, and that's to watch your demos. This is a very broad suggestion, and it does annoy me when people try to teach CS very vaguely. So I'd suggest downloading a demo and watching the way you approach your gunfights. Keep an eye out for the information you might give to your enemy before your engagement, and also watch what it's like from the enemy point of view. Seeing what it's like to play against you is surprisingly eye-opening, but you know, at the end of the day, sometimes you just need a break from the game. The way I see it is that I'll play every night for like 2 weeks, and although I'll wake up the next day and kind of feel like playing, the game does seem a bit grueling to play, and I'm certainly not gagging for the game like I usually would be. Obviously, depending on the extremities of your emotions, the break might be shorter or longer, but I think it's important to know how to effectively take a break, what it can achieve, and how it will positively affect your performance. I feel like people take breaks from things, but they don't really do it effectively. A break is time off, yes, but it also serves a purpose. If you felt burnt out from your job as an actor, for example, and then you took a week off where you just watched movies the whole time, you're gonna come back to work still kind of exhausted. So with CS, when I have a break from it, I don't allow myself to think of the game, and I'll enjoy my life outside of it. I mean, I am a bit extreme with my breaks because I also make these videos, so I need that fresh perspective on not just my gameplay, but also, you know, the videos. But regardless, with exhaustion, it's kind of a motivation thing. Everyone has their ambitions, no matter how crazy they are, but your motivation and inspiration are what make you achieve them. And when you're burnt out or exhausted, you need to build up that motivation to remind yourself of what you're fighting for. You know, this is really random and just like dead personal, but I saw this image years ago. Well, not this exact one, I had to remake it because I don't know where I saw the original image, but in my brain, I've just labeled this as the motivation triangle. You can start anywhere, so we'll start at creation. Something is created, then it inspires, leading to motivation, leading to creation again. But to bring it back about my point to CS, creativity is my way of expressing myself, and right now, that's through the form of Counter-Strike, whether it be playing it or making videos on it. And when I feel burnt out, it's the period where I go from creation to motivation. So if I were to take a break, it needs to serve the purpose of feeling motivated again. But the question is, what makes you feel inspired to achieve what you want to achieve? For me, it's my memories from the summer of 2017. I was in a sixth form college, and it was the first time that I decided to really get good at CS. I'd walk home with my earphones in and listen to E-double Freestyle Fridays. Maybe that's one of my many forms of my inner child, and I want to please it. But either way, if I take a break from CS for long enough, and don't think about the game, I'll eventually miss those memories and I'll go for a walk and listen to some of those same songs, and it just fills me with that motivation again. It kinda reminds me of why I'm doing what I want to do, and I can reflect on what I've achieved so far, and the potential that I've got for the future. Another benefit from a break is getting a fresh perspective, and to explain this, I want to use a YouTube video to draw a parallel. Let's take this video that you're watching right now, for example. I had the idea to make a video about Burnout, and I designed a thumbnail and title. I had the idea based on what I think your first impression of that combination would be in order to make you click it. But sometimes I'll work on these combinations for such a long time that I'll get caught up on these small details that in the bigger picture don't really matter. This makes me lose my sense of that first impression, and I can lose direction with the thumbnail and title completely. But if I take a few days away from it and put it in the back of my mind, I'll come back and have a resemblance of that first impression when I see it again. And usually I'll instantly notice what's missing. And I think that links to Counter-Strike perfectly. We get so caught up on these small details in the metagame that we forget about the bigger picture. But the idea of not even thinking about the game is key. Or at least it is for me. Like, when I hear pros talk about their job, they say that they like to have a life outside the game and that it helps them prevent burnout. And I feel like this is because it gives them other things to think about and look forward to. It just sounds very refreshing. People typically don't want to take a break due to losing their ability to aim. But honestly, if you take like a week off, I feel like it can make your aim better. If you think about it from a physiological point of view, you're putting huge amounts of stress in your hand, wrist, and arm every time you play the game. There are a lot of good stretches and exercise to help with this, but having a rest from the game also gives your muscles a rest. But yeah, have a break if you need to. Life is stressful enough as it is, and CS should be the least of your worries. It's a leisure activity. Also, I just want to give Skin Baron a cheeky little shout out. It's basically just a skin marketplace, good prices, nice people. And if you were thinking of buying a skin, you can use my affiliate link in the description of the video, and it will basically let Skin Baron know, oh, this guy came from Neil's video, and it helps me out massively. But yeah, don't want to shove it in your face or anything, but it's there if you want to check it out. You know, good prices, stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, I'm probably going to go for a walk and listen to some E-double Freestyle Friday, so I'll catch you boys in a bit.